Hello soldiers and civilian sheepdogs, this is Nut and Fancy coming at you with another excellent fixed blade option, mostly for your utility needs you might have. And truth be told, soldiers, you're mostly going to be using your blade just for that, utility functions. Now that's not to say that you won't need a big blade sometimes, especially if you're engaged in perhaps CQB operations in urban environments, as I have previously addressed in a lot of different other reviews. However, this one, in my opinion, kind of falls more in line in the POU category of utility blade. It is the new Benchmade Model 147 BK Nimmervis Cub Light knife, and it is impressive. What impresses me most about the overall package is its lightweight. And because of this and also the features that it has, I'm going to put it in my highly recommended deployment category, i.e. playlist, for options of soldiers going overseas where they can strap this sucker on their LBE gear, that is load-bearing equipment gear, not weigh themselves down, and still have a lot of blade for the weight they're carrying. So 5.5 ounces overall, that is light, especially for the kind of blade you're getting. 154 cm steel with the Nimmervis Cub Light. That's a good steel. I've talked about it in a lot of different reviews. Good edge holding, easy enough to sharpen, good rust resistance overall. It will rust on you if you abuse it. However, if you just use a little bit of common sense, you'll find that the 154 blades, especially the Benchmade varieties, are going to last you a long time. There's that Nimmervis blade shape. I have a separate review on the Nimmervis. There were a couple criticisms I leveled against it. If you want to go look, you can go check it out. However, I am very fond of the Cub Nimmervis, this smaller one. First off, I do love the blade shape. Flat ground about from the 3/4 point on the spine. This particular one, of course, is black coated, decent. I don't mind that at all, especially for soldiers. That will be a good thing. Good spear point. This is kind of a drop point, spear point blade shape. However, it has enough belly towards the tip where we can use it in everyday utility functions. However, if you had to, you could also employ it, of course, in the defensive role. Granted, it's not a big blade. It's kind of on the smaller side, but that makes it light, it makes it portable, and in my opinion, more of a utility knife and more functional in that role. A bigger blade, I don't know, for me it just doesn't serve an EDC purpose quite as well as perhaps a smaller blade does. There's a Benchmade butterfly logo on there as it normally is, very cool. The handle scales on here are not G10 as far as I can tell. Look in the annotation, I'll tell you exactly what they're made out of. And you can take them off in case you dunk it in salt water. They don't provide an outstanding amount of traction. However, in a way, it's kind of not needed. And that's because the jimping on the Nimmervis Cub Light is so functional. Very sharp, very purposeful, and with that choil underneath, you can lock the blade in a most excellent fashion. And almost it becomes secondary, the scales do, because it just locks in so nicely, and you should have absolute control over any type of cutting task you have going on. This one is actually number 334 out of 500. Very cool. It's kind of an additional bonus. You have, of course, the extended pommel coming out of here with a nice big hole to put 550 cord through, which I would recommend probably for extraction of the blade, maybe some blade retention if you think that's necessary. Also, it could serve as a lethal / non-lethal impact device if you had to. However, if your hands kind of trend towards a large size, which mine do, you're going to find that handle is going to be a little bit small for you. You might even completely cover it up, especially if you're wearing gloves, so just be advised. Good blade shape, I dig it. I like the choil, how it locks in, super light and fast in hand. Very attractive fixed blade option. Granted, it's on the small size, but in my opinion, it makes for a very awesome EDC blade choice. As a civilian, a troop, heck, anyone who has space for this sheath, which by the way is excellent. I love the sheath. What have I always said about sheaths? I like the Kydex and the plastic sheaths. I don't know if Benchmade tunes into the Nut and Fancy project. I don't know. But they added a lot of things which I've been calling for in their line, and this is one of them. This type of sheath. Notice also that they dispensed with a Velcro retention tab, which I criticize no matter who makes it. Rat Cutlery is guilty of this, that all they have is just a little patch of Velcro to lock the knife in. Granted, their sheath design in Rat Cutlery is decent. However, if we're going to have a retention strap, let's do it right, and let's put a mil-spec button fastener on it, just like Benchmade did with this one. It won't wear out ever unless you cut the strap, and it locks in very nicely, and it adds very little in weight. Good job, Benchmade, with the retention strap. It's ideal. Also, excellent job on the back of the sheath on this particular version, which is MOLLE capable. It has the MOLLE additional sheath with it. Good job that it can attach very quickly and readily to your MOLLE loadout gear. That's me breathing a sigh of relief for finally manufacturers coming on board with a MOLLE system and a quick and easy way to do it. Yeah, there's some other ones out there, but I really like this one because it's so light and easy, and it's using a very well-established MOLLE attachment method, which several other manufacturers of different items use, and it just works great. Super, super job on the sheath. And overall, this whole loadout, dude, seriously, 5.5 ounces for the whole knife. So you're getting a lightweight, strong enough fixed blade from Benchmade for 5.5 ounces. I mean, there's really no reason why you wouldn't want to put it on your loadout. Now, that's not to say that this knife, like I kind of alluded to in the beginning of the video, can fulfill all the functions of a deployment blade. If you're going into close quarter battle options or scenarios, this would probably not be my first choice. I would go into that type of scenario with, if I could be given a chance to change out blades. Might go with a cold steel OSS, bigger blade, more reach, more capability. However, like I said, most of your knife functions out there, even in a deployment situation, is going to be along the lines of utility use, especially food preparation and just daily utility tasks. I think the Nimmervis Cub Light will function quite well indeed. By the way, there's that drain hole in the plastic sheath, won't retain water, drains right out, locked into your MOLLE gear. By the way, you could lock that onto your belt loop as well, civilians, so I wouldn't fret too much about that. Overall, I love the knife. It's not going to break the bank. It's not cheap though, because it's a Benchmade, and mostly Benchmades are relatively expensive, except the red line. So expect this one to run in around $110 or so, maybe a little bit more, a little bit less. But I think it's worth the price for the quality and the lightweight you're going to achieve with this. Good job, Benchmade, on this Nimmervis Cub Light knife. Nothing fancy, digs it. Good choice. See ya.